Upgrading your hardware can be pretty costly, but do you really need a racing wheel to be competitive, or is a gamepad already enough? We'll find out. Today we'll answer one of the biggest questions in esports racing. Is a gamepad enough to be competitive? To answer these questions, we will have a look at the input options, the force feedback, the immersion both provide, the games you can play, and how much they cost. Let's go! At first, we look at the main function of both devices, the inputs. With a wheel, you can give precise steering input for your car. The greater the rotation angle of the wheel, the more precise you can be. Steering this accurately is much harder with a gamepad. The control sticks don't have much space to move, and the margin between no input and 100% input is very small. The same goes for throttle and brake. It is way harder to meter both inputs, pedals are way more precise here. But that does not mean you can only give all or nothing inputs with a gamepad. For example, in games that support a gamepad, the steering angle is not directly related to your stick input, but a combination of car speed, stick angle and other parameters. That means the game will help you to always find a good and smooth steering angle. Force feedback is an important factor in esports racing, especially in simulations. It is the mechanical response of your device to the events in the game, mostly in form of vibration. Force feedback is very precise on most wheels. You can feel whether your car is on track, on a curb or on the grass. A good wheel will also make you feel from which part of the car the feedback is coming. Force feedback allows you to feel the track conditions and the behavior of your car. It gives you an indication if you have to countersteer or take any other action. Gamepads are very limited when it comes to force feedback. While most of them are capable of rumbling or vibrating, you can never tell the location of where the feedback is coming from. Also, the type of feedback on a gamepad is limited to the same vibration patterns. You will never be able to distinguish between curb, gravel or grass. This leads us to one of the main reasons for a wheel, immersion. Using the same device as a real racer is a clear advantage of the wheel. Also, the force feedback will give you the best feedback you would get in a real car. Overall, using wheels and pedals feels way more natural and less like you're playing a game. It will take your esports racing experience to a new level. But which games can I play with a gamepad, and for which games do I need a wheel? As mentioned, most games support gamepads and help you to find the perfect racing line, even though your inputs are very limited. Arcade and simcade games like Need for Speed or Forza Motorsport are designed to be played with a gamepad. They offer you almost the full racing experience without the wheel. Even the biggest Forza esports tournament, the Forza RC, is played on a gamepad. But when it comes to realistic simulations like iRacing and rFactor 2, you should consider upgrading your hardware. These games don't support gamepads and don't offer any assistance. This will leave you in the grass and barriers in almost every lap. Another big advantage of gamepads is their low price. For just about €20 you can dive into almost any racing game, but when it comes to a wheel you will need to invest at least about €150 though. Any solution that is cheaper is merely a toy, to be frank, and not optimal for racing. A wheel offers you way more precise control and force feedback than a gamepad. Therefore, it creates a much more realistic racing experience and immersion. When it comes to lap times, you don't necessarily need a wheel to be competitive. In all arcade and some of the simcade games, you can nail top times with a gamepad as well. But to reach these times, you will need way more practice than with a wheel. For driving fun laps or making your first steps into racing, a gamepad is the perfect choice. However, if you want to race in proper simulations and you want to have a more realistic esports racing experience, you should consider upgrading your hardware. And that's it for today. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, and see you guys again next time.